Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode 72. Sell Your Studs Now, part 2. We're going to hit some wide receivers and tight ends. We're brought to you by Dynasty Theory in partnership with Dynasty Daddy, and as always, Fantasy Football Infinity. We'd like you to join the Dynasty Theory Discord. It's totally free to join. And please like, comment, and subscribe. We got the whole team back together. McSpanky and Holler are here tonight. How is it going, guys?
Really good. Did you guys see the Houston Texans, rookies and vets, reported to training camp today?
Yes, very exciting stuff.
They're the first team that the vets reported to. We had a couple guys come in with just the rookies, but the whole gang's back. So football is ramping up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hell's yes.
I know the majority of training camps is going to start in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually going to go to Rams training camp on the 27th.
Heck yeah.
It's at a local college near me, so I was like, you know what, let's do it. The tickets were free, so
nice. Better
let's go. Let's see how.
Are you gonna try to get Puka to sign anything?
Maybe.
Good luck.
I'll just hold my son up and see. Hey, sign his head.
Sign his head.
Although I have a jersey, so maybe I'll bring his jersey and see. That would be really cool.
Honestly,
yeah, I bet he would.
So,
freaking Lions, it's no longer free to go to their training camp. Last time I went, it was free, but Matt Patricia was the head coach. But I guess when you go to the NFC Championship, they can. They can gouge you.
It's free when your team sucks and no one wants to go.
Right.
Yeah. So I was pretty surprised that Rams was free. But I don't know if they get many people to go or what. I mean, to me, training camp, like charging for training camp's a little.
I don't know what the prices were. Yeah, but there was some dude. Yeah, there's some dude on Twitter that had posted a screenshot, and he was waiting in a line of 9,000 people. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like online. Yes, man. I'm like,
that's
what
crazy.
the hell? Because I was thinking about going again, and I was like, perfect time. We're actually good. It'd probably be exciting to actually be there.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there.
I would think like if the team's bad, it would be free, but I was surprised. Honestly, surprised the Rams because I mean, obviously they're not great, but they made the playoffs last year, and so
above average.
Their team should be solid again this year. I mean, obviously losing Donald is a lot, but they should be good.
Do you think it's just kind of LA though? Because like there was like when you guys first came back to LA, there was the whole thing of like we barely fill the stadium, and like it's not like the same like. I don't feel like it's the same atmosphere as some of the other stadiums around the NFL. Like when you watch games like in that stadium, because you share it and things along those lines.
Yes,
it's more like the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get more people there, and the Cowboys actually come to California for their training camp. They come to they go to Oxnard. I've been to that. Yeah. So, but it's just training camp in my opinion. Don't charge.
Right. I really wish they weren't. There'd probably be a mad dash in Detroit right now. Anyway, let's get into the news before I just keep ranting about training camp prices. Jordan Addison, he's playing Grand Theft Auto in real life right now. Like, what do you? This is a lot of irresponsibility. A lot of irresponsibility in the past 2 years from Jordan Addison. Real knucklehead, bonehead stuff, man.
You know what was concerning too is like 2 days after that, he like posted a picture on like his Instagram of him just like out drinking like mimosas by himself at like a brunch. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And the worst part about that too is that like one of his teammates like just like died in like a drunk driver accident not that long ago too. So it's like just no like awareness of like what is happening and just decisions.
I don't get. Like with these rookies, man. Obviously, they're going to be going into their second year, but him and Rashee Rice, like, man, all you got to do is not mess it up. And like with the amount of money that is given to wide receivers, even if you're like mediocre, you'll get a good amount of money. Obviously, it's a lot of money, but like you'll get it. Well, true, but you're going to get a good amount of money, and I don't know, just it's tough.
Like that's what Uber's for. You know,
right?
Like,
you guys are the ones that can afford these kind of things. Like my ass couldn't afford Uber or anything along those lines. Like there's no, you know what I mean? Like I don't.
So Louise. To bring this back to more football, does this change your value on Jordan Addison at all? Because I can tell you, like, I got a couple offers for my Jordan Addison because I have a lot of Addison shares. I got a couple just right after that news dropped. It was one Addison for Chubb straight up, and then I got another one Addison for a mid 25-2. That's on a 14 teamer, so it's like even later. Plus Jahmyr. Or sorry, so it was Addison plus the 25-2 for Jahmyr. So I turned both those down immediately without question. But like,
for me, this doesn't change anything for me, right? I like Addison a lot. I really loved him, as a rookie last year. But I think going from, obviously he was with, mediocre quarterbacks after Kirk Cousins was hurt. But going from, like, he's kind of, I don't know, it's tough for me. I think I dropped him a little bit when they only have like JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold. Like, that was, I think, the biggest drop for me a little bit. But overall, I think this is still, we know who he is. He puts up some good numbers with all the people that are already there. They didn't add anything to the wide receiver core. They basically only added Aaron Jones. So to me, like, he's kind of in the same boat. Wide receiver 2. I think he's, wide receiver 20-ish, 20-something-ish for me. So to me, it doesn't really change anything. So I'm with you, Spanky. I would turn down both of those in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I'm not selling for that, but I'm also not. I'm not going to be afraid to move off of some Addison at this point in time, even though we like the situation, we like the offensive coordinator, head coach kind of deal going on in Minnesota. We like the way things are trending. But with all the knucklehead stuff, and like, it's not like I bumped him down a ton. I think, I kind of felt he was like a late first prior to this situation. And I think like I'm down to like early second-ish, kind of stuff, like slightly discounted as to where he was before. I'm not like sell at all costs by any means necessary. Get him out of here, before he's worth nothing. Go ahead.
I think he's worth a late first if you're going to acquire him. Like, if someone is going to trade him for that, like I'd buy him up for a late first all day. Especially because if you're like a contender, like, that first is doing nothing for you, but Addison's good. Like, even if you don't start him every week, which I think you probably will, if nothing else, he's a good like depth piece for you, and like he's going to help you on bye weeks. He's a good flex option. Like, I'd do that in a heartbeat, and I wouldn't. And he's young enough. He's only 22 years old because he came out early. So like, I don't see the downside other than unless he's just a knucklehead and gets suspended because he continues doing stupid things. But
so maybe. For me, I'm in the same boat. I would buy for a late 25 first, or even a random 26 first, probably. But I think I would need to like feel like my team is going to compete right away. I would feel like I would want him as like my WR 3 or 4. So, that's kind of where I'm at with him. I see in JB's tiers, he's down at wide receiver 30. He's up at 27 in Dynasty Daddy positional ADP. So I think for me, it would really just depend on what I was getting for him.
Yeah, I think Addison's too low in both of those rankings. Yeah, that you just
I'm with you. That's like when I said early 20-ish. Like, my only worry with him is like he's more of a, I wouldn't say boomer bust, but that's kind of what he is, as like behind
a little bit
JJ, right? So you really would want a touchdown from him. That's going to get you most of his points. And then obviously he did it with Josh Dobbs and whoever else was there, but we do worry a little bit about JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold, whoever's going to be that.
I don't.
I know you don't.
Full hype. I think McCarthy runs the offense really well. And actually, I think Sam Darnold got a really bad shake in New York with the level of incompetence there. It was like the ghost of Le'Veon Bell and Adam Gase. I'm kind of curious to see what the kid can do with like an actual coaching staff around him and some legitimate receivers. So
totally.
I don't know. I'm still in on Addison. But I think I'm probably the highest on him out of most people.
The three of us. Yeah,
for three of us. And sounds like the Dynasty Theory guys don't really like him either, based on the conversation we had earlier. So.
Yeah, Ron, did you end up doing that trade? What was it?
It did. You guys want to talk about it? Let me bring it up for you real quick here. My tab up here. was actually just at it, and I had to pop in the Warrior draft.
Okay, real quick while you're pulling it up. So like Wes's comment in the chat about how Justin Jefferson will always be the number one. Like, and there are plenty of wide receivers that succeed without being the number one, option in their offense, right? Especially like in that McVay Shanahan system. Like we saw Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua did really well. Debo and Aiyuk have done awesome. Like it doesn't matter as much as I think it used to. We've seen Jamar Chase and T Higgins both do really well in their offenses. Like I don't think it matters if you're the number two. Like maybe it caps your ceiling a little bit, but you could still be like a high end wide receiver too if you're not like the 1A option.
I think that's more what it is that I don't like about Addison at this point in time. It just made me look at it more now with JJ and Hawk, and what you just said there, McSpanky, is that he's kind of capped. We're not going to get much more unless we get, a JJ injury. Like, I don't care who the quarterback is, their favorite target is going to be Justin Jefferson on that team because he's
Hawkinson's
that good.
Already hurt, so you already have injuries. So he's and then who else is taking away targets there? Their receiving core is just
Jones.
A random group of scraggly bunches of walk-on players. Like I don't know,
Brandon Powell. He does. Oh my goodness!
Exactly. Exactly.
Listen, he had some splashes with Stafford.
I know I brought up Aaron Jones, but I'm not too worried about him, to be honest. So I don't like I said in the beginning, I don't really drop him down much, and I don't think I could part with him like for an early second. I would need at least a first for him, and then I would buy. I'd buy for a first as well.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of what Wes is saying here, that's kind of my thing as well. Is can McCarthy support 3 top targets? Is I agree, and we'll see. I mean, but
Dobbs did for a stretch down the season last year. Like there's I think that system, if you just are even like fairly competent at the quarterback position, like you could succeed in that offense because of how they run it there.
Yep,
sure. Okay, so I got the trade. I traded away Jordan Addison, Jalen Polk, and a 25 third for David Montgomery, Josh Palmer, and a 26 second.
I don't like it. I said that.
I said that a few times. We've already talked about this.
I don't mind it. I mean,
that's kind of where I was with it too. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh my god, I have to have Monty on my team. I'm just more like, Monty's not a knucklehead. I have Jahmyr Gibbs on this team. God forbid anything happens to Gibbs. But if anything does, I've secured myself here. I don't got to deal with Addison and his deal anymore, and I get a second in the future. And Josh Palmer is going to have a little bit of production this year, I think, just because there's nobody other than Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston on that depth chart.
You want to talk about a guy with a cap ceiling? They see Joshua Palmer. Like that dude is.
For sure. I just looked at him as like a 1-year rental. I can toss into a flex for a week because it's a solid contending team that I made the trade on. It's not like a rebuild or anything. Like a rebuild. I'll just hold Jordan Addison. I really don't care at that point. I'll see what he does with his career. It's just more so that this team I expect to be competitive. I don't need any knuckleheads messing that up.
What was Addison? What was he? Your wide receiver? What?
Oh geez, let me go look at my team here.
So that's kind of where I would draw the line. If he was like my 4th best wide receiver, and I needed a little bit of running back help, I think I could see it. I like Monty. I'm probably a little bit higher than others on Monty. I was grabbing him when I do a lot of. There's no secret here. I do a lot of more like zero running back, or like I do deep wide receiver. And so there's times I was taking him in startups, Monty as my running back too, which I felt good about. And I think locking him up when you already have Gibbs is, could be good, could be bad, but it's at the end of the day, it's solid. If he's your running back 3 or 4, you throw him in a flex. Same thing with Palmer. I mean, I don't think you're going to get Palmer week after week, but I do know you're going to get him in a couple weeks, and maybe in the beginning of the season will help get you wins in there, but then we'll see. I don't fully know what to make of the Chargers offense just yet.
Yeah, and that's part of it. For a little context on my wide receiver room, it's Malik Neighbors, Jalen Waddle, Rome Odunze, Xavier Worthy, Ricky Pears, Calvin Ridley, Josh Palmer, Darnell Mooney. Those are the mostly relevant guys.
I think I would have kept Addison.
Yeah, I would have kept Addison, but it's all good.
Yeah.
See if it worked out.
I don't care too much on that one, to be honest with you.
Some Lions bias.
You win some, you lose some.
Probably. Don't worry, guys. You'll see.
Oh, good. We've all been there.
Okay, next in the news. Nick Chubb is an absolute freak of nature. 8 months after his ACL surgery, and the dude is squatting 500 plus pounds.
So, like, that's great, but is that going to help him make cuts?
I just wanted to say he's an absolute freak of nature. Like, I don't care if he's out there making cuts or anything. Dude's a freak of nature, man. That is absolutely just insane. 8 months ago, he had surgery and he's squatting over 500 pounds. That's
awesome. But like, people need football back desperately. We're getting way too excited about people working out.
To me, in that video, what was crazy is how flexible the bar was. Yeah.
Oh, that's just I believe that's called like a wave bar or whatever.
Okay.
It's like specifically made tsunami bar to make it harder. Yeah, it's to make you use like the stabilizing muscles more. So like if you watch James Harrison work out, he uses that tsunami bar a lot, and like the thing just like shakes and rattles, so you really have to like hold on to that thing. I would have to try one actually. It's pretty cool.
I'm not a big weight guy, so Ron's our resident weight guy.
Shh, don't announce it to the world. Ayuk officially requests a trade, but then I found this super funny. Source on Brandon Ayuk contract impasse. Ayuk wants to be traded or paid. San Francisco doesn't want to pay him or trade him. So
yeah,
like, clear as mud here.
I want a lot of things.
Right.
He has no leverage in the situation. Like, he has to show up and play to accumulate a year. Otherwise, he's in the same situation he is again next year if he wants to hold out. So he's basically, too bad, so sad. Get your butt to training camp and we'll see you there, bud.
So I thought it was crazy. I read some, I don't know if it was in the Discord or exactly remember where it was, but to me, he wants, this is crazy. I read that he wants 28 million. San Francisco offered 26. Like, come on, we can't like go to like 27 and be okay with it. I think, in my opinion, Ayuk's going like kind of diva-ish a little bit. That's at that rate. There's I understand when you feel like you're good and you want your money, but if you're that close, like, come on. I think it would be good for both of them.
I think part of the problem is that they are going to have to pay Brock Purdy soon.
Yeah, I get it.
So, and they just paid Debo. I think CMC is still on the books, so like they gotta figure something out. I just don't think they want to. And I think that's why they drafted Ricky Pearsall, because they're just like, we're gonna make you play out this contract, let him walk, and then we'll pay the piper with whatever we got to do later.
Yep, I'm with you. I get it. I mean. Do you guys think he gets traded? I personally don't.
I don't. I'd be surprised if he got traded.
But
I think this was. I do know this was talked about in the Discord, and pretty sure Debo. Yeah, thanks, Wes. I'm pretty sure Debo requested a trade. He got paid. We're talking about a kicker now. Gould requested a trade.
It's like, who's Gould?
Robbie Gould. Yeah, so I don't know if he'll get paid per se, but he's not getting traded.
Definitely.
Yeah. $26 million a year that they offered him, by the way, that puts him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th highest paid wide receiver on average value.
That's crazy. Like, just take the money and be okay with like that. I don't know. Real quick, let's hit this from Jason. He thinks Jahmyr Gibbs is too highly ranked. How can somebody who's only getting 50% of the work justified as a first round pick? Just like A-Chain. So I think the difference between Gibbs and A-Chain is I think Gibbs, they were kind of ramping him up last year. I think who's going to take the bigger hit would be Monty this year. I think they're going to use Gibbs in a few more, like a little bit more different ways. And I think Gibbs will be on the field, in between the 20s. So maybe Gibbs might take a little bit of a hit in the touchdowns per se. And then they bring Monty in. But to me, Gibbs is just so talented. That he's really warranted that first round pick. I think you're talking about in redraft, Jason, because he's going more in a super flex. He's going second round more, sometimes the third.
The other thing too is that volume isn't necessarily everything. It's how efficient Jahmyr Gibbs is with those touches.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of like high like point potential touches where it's like
Yep.
a lot of like targets and like receiving work, and then he's electric in the running game. And I think if you want to think about it in terms of like back in the day when like Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram were there in the Saints, like
Totally.
Alvin Kamara he didn't get very many touches, but he was the one you wanted because he just was so good with those touches. There are some guys that they're just so good when they get the ball in their hands that like it doesn't matter how much volume they get. And Gibbs is a little undersized. I'd say he probably shouldn't be like a volume back. Not that he can't do it, but I think it would limit some of his efficiency. So I think that's part of it. And then like Montgomery gets a lot of the like the grunt work, like the hey, it's third and 2, we need a first down, bud. And so he takes a bigger toll, whereas Gibbs, they scheme things up for him to get him in space.
So my argument with you, Jason, with the in PPR volume is key, which I agree, but to me, there's not very many running backs these days that are getting pure like just all the volume, right? It's
CMC is like the only one that does it.
He's about the only one.
CMC, Derrick Henry.
Those two guys are, I think, in my opinion, unicorns. So, I get what you're saying,
Jason.
Jason.
Best offensive line in football. You get one of the best play callers in football. Top 10 offense, and then he also was only below 50% snap share after week 6 2 times for the entire season. So.
Yeah, and so I like Wes's argument here. Like Gibbs is going to get a ton of pass catching work. So there you go. There your PPR volume is going to be fine. Mm-hmm. I get the argument with Achane though, and I don't think he's going as high as you would think. I haven't done many
with redraft ADP.
I was just going to say that exactly the same thing. I'm not entirely sure on where Achane's going in redraft.
He's pretty high. He's like at the 2-3 turn for the most part.
And last year I loved Achane, but I would not touch that.
I think Mostert and Achane are similar backs, whereas Gibbs and Montgomery have clearly different roles in the offense.
To me, Achane's just your home run hitter that he's gonna need to get he needs to break loose and take a touchdown for him to get those points.
Agreed. Did we finish up on Aiyuk there?
I think so. I don't think his value's different really. Even if he does
I haven't changed much anything yet.
If he does get traded, I think it's probably going to go down.
I think Ron, you said this, but the only place that I'm like worried about Aiyuk is in like redraft. We're doing some like the Warrior Bowl, and I did another best ball, and I kind of passed over Aiyuk, and I'm just in case he holds out. You don't want to have that on a redraft team.
Yeah, he's going to like the back end of the first,
crazy
second. Aiyuk is, which is a little nutty.
Yep,
in redraft,
and like underdog best ball drafts he is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which, because those wide receivers fly off the board.
I gotcha. I can't do best ball here in Michigan. It's terrible.
It's worst ball
free
in
Michigan. # free Michigan. I don't know. Looks like Daniel Jones will be good to go for training camp, and also we are going to have Theo Johnson went on to the PUP. Xavier Worthy is working back. I'm kind of disappointed about the Theo thing. Xavier Worthy has been working his way back up to full speed. He was at practice today, and I feel like there's one other guy there that I forgot. I was going to toss these in there. I had him in my head all day long, and I never threw him onto the sheet.
Oof, and your head's a dangerous place. Real quick on the Giants tight end room, with Waller gone and now Theo Johnson on the pup, like Daniel Bellinger, is he like the cheapest tight end one ever? Like he's tight end 38 in Dynasty Daddy right now. Like I mean,
that's
at that
crazy.
Point, like just see if you can get him on your roster for.
There you go. Tear down from McBride to Bellinger. Kidding. Don't do it. I'm joking.
Oh God, you're gonna need a lot. You're gonna need a lot.
I'm joking. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have a hard time thinking. I think it might be. I don't know. As I talk about this, I don't even know what it's going to be, but I think it could be just a committee like Bellinger one week, Theo Johnson 1 week. Somebody else, who knows? Who else is on the roster? You know.
Hold on. I can actually.
It also could just be everything gets funneled into Malik Neighbors, and it doesn't.
That's more where I'm leaning. Is like
Totally.
I don't really totally care.
Yep.
And then Wan'Dale Robinson's there. He kind of occupies a little bit of like a slot role, and they might just use the tight ends more to help block because their offensive line's still not great. It's gotten better, but it's still not awesome for Devin Singletary to run in.
I have the depth chart for you. It is Daniel Bellinger, Theo Johnson, Lawrence Cager, Chris Manhertz, Jack Stoll, and Tyree Jackson.
Okay, so they all suck.
Yeah, pretty much a void at this point.
Might be the worst tight end I've ever heard.
Yeah, the only reason I'm disappointed about Theo is because like I was grabbing him in like the 4th and 5th round of rookie drafts, and then Waller retired, and I was just like, oh my goodness, how great! You know, like you're gonna find out about like you can find out about your 4th and 5th round rookie pick right here and now. You know, and maybe he still gets off the pup and he gets a chance to get in there. We'll see what happens there.
So it looks like it's a hip flexor. So I don't think it's going to be.
I think he'll be all right.
Short.
I was gonna say I think he'll be fine. Like
that's where I'm at too.
So?
Yeah. Is that so in the same article he got placed on the PUP. He has a hip flexor, should be okay for training camp. So I imagine it's probably just like
a minor tweak, hopefully
a minor thing, and maybe they keep him out for like a week. But he is a rookie, so that is a bummer. Like he needs the rep. Like
big time athleticism for sure. I think he was pretty wild on the RAS score stuff.
Pretty sure he was like a 9.99 score. Like he was almost a perfect score. So
specimen.
Where to be?
Okay. Should we do the trades in the real leagues here?
Yeah, so I found some trades that happened here. This first one,
disappointed in this
standard scoring. Brian Robinson got traded for a 25-2, which is a frisky 2. So probably middle-ish, and Antonio Gibson. So what side are you guys taking there?
You already know mine. Although, so in the. I was in this league as well. So in the chat, I mean,
we're all in this league.
Yeah. So
this was my trade, just full disclosure.
Yes. So in the chat, some people were saying that I was a free Antonio Gibson, and
I agree. That's how I viewed it.
Yeah, and
I got the 25 pick and then Gibson.
Yeah. How much I like B-Rob is like I would buy him for a second, and so if you throw me Antonio Gibson as well, I think I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I'm on the second and Gibson, because if there's any chance of that 25-2 being like 1 through 6, like you could get yourself a solid player.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's where I am too, and it's definitely going to be pretty context heavy on the roster. I didn't look at your roster there, McSpanky, but if I have any question marks and somebody sends me an offer like this, I'm pretty heavily considering that one for sure.
Totally,
it wasn't great, and I have like a lot of running backs in that league too. It's not a great build where my team's not very good, and I have a lot of running backs. So
yeah, which league is this? So like I've talked about it before. So I really like Brian Robinson. And I'm not worried about Austin Eckler. But I don't really love the whole Washington offense, right? And then also they added Jaden Daniels, who's a runner himself. So I think it's gonna take a little bit away from B-Rob. I liked B-Rob a lot last year, and he actually did a really good job. I'm soured a little bit on him now, but he's got a place in my heart still.
Should we jump into the?
Yes, we should.
Let's do it.
Okay, so my wide receiver is AJ Brown. I'm not predicting AJ Brown's downfall here, so before everybody starts freaking out and coming out with their pitchforks after Ron for his AJ Brown takes, you are. He's 27 years old. Not totally ancient at this point in time. It's 17 points per game, 9 targets per game, which is all awesome stuff. I'm just more of the mindset of try to get out now while the value is super high, before that the decline starts to happen is more where I'm at with AJ Brown. everything still looks great and awesome for him. So I think now is kind of the time to strike if you can. Like, don't just give him away for pennies just to get out of AJ Brown at this point in time. Like, he's still a very good football player. I think he has a really physical style of play, which doesn't always lend itself to longevity for players. Everybody's been hurt in the NFL, so I'm not going to bring up the fact that he has been hurt, in his career, but he is a very physical player, so yeah, he's not exactly Keenan Allen out there, running out of the slot and just technician kind of stuff, so I had a few ideas. Puka plus a third or a late second if you could. Some people seem to be like kind of wishy-washy on what Puka did his rookie season, which kind of seems bananas. Like, if you ever actually watched him play,
tell me who they are.
Just box score watching. I don't know them personally. We'll find them though. Don't worry.
Well, yeah,
we'll be in we'll be in Canton. Don't worry.
Yep.
And then also Nico, I think you could possibly get something towards like an early second on top of him if you wanted to explore something around those lines. There was a trade of AJ Brown for DK Metcalf and a 25 first and a 26 second. This was a 12-team start 11 full PPR 0.75 tight end premium. What do you guys think about this?
So I love DK Metcalf, and so give me the Metcalf and 2 firsts.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Even if those firsts are late, I think
yeah,
that's fine.
I agree. I think this one's kind of an outlier, though, just based off of the trades that I wanted to find. I just kind of want to throw that one in there because that one's just kind of
it's always a little bit of outliers in there, I've noticed.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
There's some crazy people.
Yeah. Then we have AJ Brown for Nico Collins, Terry McLaurin, and a 25 round 3. And that's, again, a 12-team start 11 full PPR 0.75 tight end premium. Nico outscored AJ Brown actually by 0.4 of a point per game. And then you also get another flexible option with Terry McLaurin in this trade. So I could, think with the large starting requirements, would you guys do that?
Yeah, and start 11, I think the depth. I generally tend to lean towards the package.
Sure.
I think Nico Collins is a really good. Nico Collins is a really good option to have. Going to tear down from AJ Brown. I bet their production is going to be fairly similar. The thing with AJ Brown is that his production came way down last year from the year before, and it's because the year before him and Jalen Hurts were just hitting those deep balls like crazy, and for whatever reason the deep balls just weren't there last year. So it's one of those things where it's kind of fluky and they could kind of go up and down. So it could be one of those things where this year maybe they hit on some more of those deep balls, and AJ Brown is like a top 3 or 4 wide receiver, or it could be that the Eagles offense isn't awesome, which kind of feels like that's the way I'm leaning. And then Nico Collins is, I just have more trust there. And then if Terry McLaurin happens to be something with Jaden Daniels, awesome. And then the third, it's just some good extra asset for getting another trade done. Right.
Sure.
I'm with you guys. I'll take Nico and Terry McLaurin, and then give me the third is obviously. But overall with AJ Brown, I don't want to we continue to hate on the Eagles, but
we've crapped on all the Eagles.
Yeah. So I am a little worried about them overall because I personally don't think Kellen Moore is a very good offensive coordinator. And again, I've talked about it as well. I just don't really. I think their head coach is also a kind of an idiot as well.
That's more the concern for me.
Yeah. So just overall,
the head coach, and I don't know that Kellen Moore's a bad offensive coordinator. More so that the fit of Kellen Moore and what he likes to do with Jalen Hurts' skill set. I don't know that those two super, fit well together.
Yeah. So I just last year you have Justin Herbert and you can't do anything with that offense. So obviously the head coach was pretty rough last year as well. But to me, if you can't do anything with Justin Herbert, I think you're going to struggle in general.
And then also I think a bit of a pass last year just because of how dysfunctional the Chargers team was.
Yeah,
that
I get it.
Was a disaster.
I get it. But yeah, I'm just kind of down on the Eagles overall. So, but again, I'm not going to just give away AJ Brown. Exactly what you said, Ron. Go over this next trade, and I'm going to be on the other side. Actually,
yeah, we'll see. So this one is AJ Brown for JSN, Lad McConkey, and a 2025 first round pick. This again, 12 teams start 11 full PPR and a half a point for tight end premium. So
I think this one's fully dependent on if you're rebuilding or not. Like,
yeah,
if you're rebuilding, which I'm guessing is what happened here, you're probably trying to collect first, and then you're trying to just hope JSN or Lad McConkey hits, right? Like,
yeah.
So the thing I have with this one is, AJ Brown is a good player already.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't know about JSN or Lad McConkey, right? So I have a hard time with these two guys. But I think if I was a complete teardown, I think I would probably have to do it. But I think I would rather have like multiple firsts, right? Make one of those players another first, and I can get JSN or Lad McConkey and 2 first. Then I think I'd feel more comfortable about it. But you're banking on both of those players to be really good in order for that thing to pan out. I think if you kind of try to field offers in your whole league, I think you could get a better one than this.
Yeah. So real quick, what if you can change JSN or Lad? They're kind of similarly valued-ish at this point in time. What if you change either one of those? You can just go up a tier in JB's tiers, and you could have Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy, or George Pickens. Does that change or entice you guys anymore to do that?
George Pickens, no, but Flowers, yes.
Yeah, I would say Flowers, yes.
Kind of where I thought you guys would go. What about Worthy?
Maybe.
Yeah. Still that rookie newness, and we haven't seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, Worthy, just I don't know what to make of him, just because I know he's fast, and he was like a weird eval too, just because like Quinn Ewers was so bad last year at Texas, and Worthy's fast, and I think he can run routes fairly well actually. So I think Kansas City's going to use him well. Like I trust that offense, obviously Patrick Mahomes, but
sure.
I'm just scared that he's just like another John Ross clone where he's just fast and he can do one thing. I don't know. We'll see how they use him, I guess.
Definitely. Should we get into, I believe this is your guy, Holler?
Yes,
sir. Boy?
Yeah, Drake London. So so the biggest thing with him is he's wide receiver 12, overall 36 on Dynasty Daddy. And my biggest thing is being wide receiver 12, I think to me you got to be an alpha, right? And the biggest question is can he be an alpha? I think I personally think they're going to run the whole offense around Bijan, and to me that's what they should do. We already like Bijan is an amazing player, right? And I think he can do things, and I think Pitts is also going to get his as well, right? We heard recently that they want to use him as a wide receiver and a tight end, whatever that means. And so I just think. I just think that right now there's a lot of hype they got obviously from Desmond Ridder to Kirk Cousins is a drastic difference.
Massive.
Yeah. And then also going from Arthur Smith to I don't know off the top of my head who their coach is, but going from somebody from that Sean McVay tree.
Raheem Morris.
Thank you. Yeah. It's like, again, like all things are pointing to really, really good, right? But if you look at his stats last year, again, I understand he was with Drake, with Desmond Ridder, and then with
Heineke.
Thank you, Taylor Heineke. He had 2 games over 100 yards, right? He only had 2 touchdowns. And, so overall he's had like average 60 yards per game, if that. So I just worry with how high he is. And if he can, the biggest question for me is if he can be that wide receiver 1. And I think if that doesn't happen, his like wide receiver 12 is going to drop quite a bit. And so if you want to trade him, get that money, cash out right now. I have some trades here that are pretty darn good. Personally, I was on a team I had a team that I felt is pretty good. I had CeeDee Lamb, Patrick Mahomes, but I unfortunately drafted Justin Fields. And so I traded Drake London for Bo Nix and Rashee Rice. What do you guys think?
I love me some Bo Nix.
Yep.
So, and Rashee Rice, I think, is undervalued too, because I think a lot of people still think that he's going to be suspended. Maybe he is, but I don't think it's going to be any more than like, say, 6 games max. So, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not overly concerned about it. So, I think that's the thing where I'm at right now with Drake London is I think he's really good. I think he's going to be like, I think he can be an awesome wide receiver in the NFL, and I think he's going to be productive for fantasy. I just think his value is higher than what his production's ever going to be.
Yep.
I think he's going to be kind of in that wide receiver like 15 to 18 range. I think it's probably more likely what he should be, but he's higher than that right now. So I think if you want to capitalize on volume, like or on his max value right now, now's the time to move him. So
yep. Totally. And so I felt like with Rice, I'm probably not going to get a big drop in points per game. And then allowing my team to get a quarterback too was huge. I was trying in a, and so this is a Canton to campus league. And so my NFL side is pretty darn good. And so I think the rookies were in the draft, so I didn't really go big on rookies. I went, my team, I felt like is pretty darn good. So let's go through some of these trades here. These are all from Dynasty Daddy. This first one, Deontay Johnson and Xavier Worthy for London. All these trades are 12-team, start 11.
I went Drake London on that.
Okay. I felt like that one as well. Like
it feels fair though. Like
it feels fair, but I want the better asset there. Some of these other ones here, I like the other side, but that was the one that I felt like, I think I need a little bit better asset. But if Xavier Worthy is the wide receiver 1, which I don't think he's going to be, I think give me London on that one. And then James Cook and a 25 first for Drake London and a 26 third.
I think I went London there too.
So
I think close,
this one,
though.
This one for me was team dependent. I really like the first, obviously. But if Drake London, which would be tough, but if he was my like wide receiver 3, I think I would do it. And if I had wide receiver depth and I needed some running back, I think I would do that one. But again, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Drake London.
If that first goes mid, man, that could be pretty sweet, though. Putting James Cook on top of that, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, we don't get the context to what the first is to kind of hash that out.
But we'll see. Like, so Drake London is wide receiver 10 on JB's tiers, and then James Cook is all the way down at running back 15, right? So that's a big jump for me. And so if I didn't, I mean, obviously it's 26 is 2 years out. So, and a third, like you've talked about, Spankies don't hold up a trade with a third, but I just feel like, if I could get this for just Drake London, I'd probably do it more.
My problem more was James Cook. I just don't know. I don't necessarily believe in his skill set as much as he got used last year. And I think it was because they just didn't have running backs that could do other things for them. And I'm curious to see if they continue to use him that way after they did just draft Ray Davis in the 4th, I want to say, who is actually, he's a pretty good running back. And so I think he's going to be more of their, get more carries than people realize. And I think that's going to take away from James Cook volume a little bit. And so I don't know. I'm a little bit lower on James Cook.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hit me with it.
You guys both get haircuts this week?
I actually just got mine earlier today.
Looking nice, guys.
Week.
I wish I had got a haircut to match everybody, but
that was a good use of the timeout.
Yeah, I love it. So this one I'm heavily, well, not heavily, but this is, I think, a good cash out because I feel like Drake London is obviously a little bit higher than 1 first. Not a little bit. He's higher than 1 first, but 225 firsts for Drake London.
That's where I'm taking the other side. I'm
gonna take
25 first. So like I don't even care if they're late. Like I'm gonna take a shot.
It's nice to get 2 first there. So again, going off his JB's tiers, like he has him as an early 25 first, right? So
sure,
if either of those are on the middle side, and you get a second one on top of that, give me the first for sure. And then our boy Jordan Addison and a 25 first for Drake London and a 25 fourth. I'm on the Addison and first side as well because
same. Okay.
No. I know.
I didn't even question what side you two were taking.
Yeah, I know. Like it sounded like a little bit. I was a little soured on Addison, but like a fourth, who cares? Like, but Addison and a first for Drake London, yeah, I'm doing that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once again, that thing pushes to mid, and you're super happy about that.
Outside of like the first two, like I felt really good about my Knicks and Rice for London trade, especially if Bo Nix is good. Like that's going to be really good. And then
yes,
I'll say this about that one, Holler. You talked me into it by the end of it, because when I first saw it, and I was like, no way in hell am I doing this, because you guys know my feelings on Bo Nix, and you guys have got me to come around a little bit on Bo Nix after he got his draft capital and who drafted him. And
I think,
but still, at the end of the day, like I just see Bo Nix as like just a guy who can effectively run the offense kind of quarterback. I don't see game breaker Bo Nix. You know what I mean? That's all. That's my thing with Bo Nix. But that's just Bo Nix himself, not in this trade specifically. Right, especially not in this trade. So
yes, well, he is my QB too. Like he's going to be my starting quarterback every week, and I don't have another one. So that's the tough one. But you know, I just think with the context with that one, I really needed a quarterback, and so I think adding Rice as well was good, because I think overall you know, if London's going to be the same as he was last year, there's not going to be too much discrepancy in the points per game.
Sure. And definitely the points per game part of that argument really, hammered at home. Should we hop into these tight ends?
No, we should let Spanky do his wide receiver.
I thought, did we skip over it?
We did.
Yeah, so
Spanky.
I'll hop in real quick before we get to your tight ends. George Pickens is the guy that I would choose to sell, and I think he's not like one of the elite wide receivers, but I think there's a definite market inefficiency with him, whereas I think people are a lot higher on George Pickens than they should be. I know he's 23 years old. He's currently the wide receiver 23 on Dynasty Daddy right now. Last season, Russell Wilson, who will be his quarterback this year, his top fantasy receiver was Cortland Sutton at wide receiver 35, and then Arthur Smith, who is now the offensive coordinator there in Pittsburgh. His best receiver in fantasy was Drake London at wide receiver 38. So I think, obviously, I think Drake London's a better talent than George Pickens is. Russell Wilson I think he is an upgrade over what they rolled out at quarterback there last year. But like even that, like he didn't really support a very high volume of wide receiver in fantasy. But now we're expecting George Pickens to be a wide receiver 2. I think he could end up being a good wide receiver, but he's never really done it. Like even at Georgia, his sample size was very limited. And I think he's kind of set up to fail in this offense. No, Arthur Smith, like some of his, so here's some of his stats as his 5 seasons as a play caller. His pass attempt ranks in the NFL 31st, 30, 19, 31, 25.
19.
So all well, yeah, which is still below league average. If 32 teams, my math checks out, 16 would be average. So he's still in the bottom half, even in his best year. His receiving stat lines at like basically 1,000 yards and 4.5 touchdowns, which doesn't exactly get me overly excited. Usually those stat lines are fairly, in the ballpark. I just don't, man. I don't see it. His ADP right now is over guys like T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel, Jordan Addison, who we can't stop talking about tonight, Chris Godwin, JSN, which I think I would take almost all of them straight up over Pickens, but that might just be me. So a couple of trades here. I saw George Pickens straight up for T. Higgins. Who do you guys got in that one?
T. Higgins.
Whoa. T. Higgins for sure. Like that one, right? To me, that one was crazy. I'm smashing T. Higgins, dude.
Okay.
Same. I personally, I'm not a big Pickens guy. Like, unfortunately,
I
think there's a lot of broken plays on his production last year.
Sadly,
that's his whole career.
Yeah.
I think I have 1 or 2 shares in one draft. I got fancy. I was like, oh, maybe I'll take Pickens, and I picked Pickens over Deebo Samuel, which I'm regretting to this day. So, I'm not big on him at all. So that one's a smash for me.
Yeah,
I can see based off of Deebo's history.
What are these trades, Spanky? Holy moly!
Dude, those are from
I get it.
2 days ago. So George Pickens for a 25 first, a 26-2, and a 26-4. The 26-4, whatever. But
smash the picks, please.
Picks.
Yeah, same. And then George Pickens and a 25 third for Brandon Aiyuk and Amari Cooper. That one is
Are
nice
you
because you take
kidding me?
advantage of the Aiyuk thing.
Yeah.
So like,
those are crazy.
that's what I'm saying, dude. People are crazy high on George Pickens. There are people out there that are just they're wearing their little George Pickens ski mask to bed like he does in games, and they just they love him, dude. They have George Pickens, underwear for nighttime, and they're his hero. So one of the
Crazy.
things I thought of, which might be a little more realistic, if you're not going to shoot for the moon on some of those trades, was Pickens to tear down to Chris Godwin, who I think is going to outproduce him, and then try to get like a Raheem Mostert, like a DeAndre Hopkins, who I'm not even that high on, Romeo Doubs, Kendre Miller, Jerome Ford, who I think will all be fairly nice to have as an addition. And then I think you're already kind of upgrading going to Godwin. And I know Godwin has, I think he's about 5 years older than Pickens is, so you're giving up a little bit there in age, but Godwin's only 28, so I think he still probably has at least 2 years, if not 3 years of production.
True that, Wes.
Superman.
Yeah, I mean,
get out of here. This man's not Chuck Norris.
Those trades are crazy. I'm gonna try some Pickens now.
That's what I'm saying. People love George Pickens. Like, even if you like George Pickens, people out there love him. Like,
I don't think I have any. I'll go check for you guys. Continue on your George Pickens.
That was it, really.
That was it. Should we get into the
see what you can do?
Tight ends?
Yeah,
yes, sir.
We've had some Trey McBride questions kind of waiting.
Yeah, so let me hit Trey McBride here. So I personally actually I love Trey McBride. He's my highest rostered tight end. I have 10 shares, only 18% rostership, but I personally think he's going to regress a little bit, mainly because in his final 4 games he had one over 100 yards. That was kind of an outlier, but the other 3 were less than 50 yards, and then across those 4 games, he only had 1 touchdown. I do know, like, the overall the Cardinals, their offense wasn't the greatest last year. But if you look at his stats overall, like, he had 2 games where he had only one target. Obviously also he had 2 games with one was 11, one was 14. But overall, like, if you average that out, he was looking at like maybe 5 targets a game. And so that needs to continue, but they added obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., generational, wide receiver, and then Zay Jones. He's not a nobody, but he's also not the greatest. But I think he's going to be useful in that offense. And then they also have Michael Wilson. Some people are
Wilson.
Yeah. So I liked Michael Wilson. He was good last year, only because again there was nobody there last year. But now they have Harrison, Zay Jones, Michael Wilson. And so I personally think if you could cash out, try to do it. He's tight end number 2 on Dynasty Daddy and overall number 39. I think most people have him as their second tight end. That's where I have him as well. So I have a hypothetical trade, mainly because I didn't really like these trades here. Would you trade McBride for Andrews and let's say a 25 second?
I think I need more. Here's the problem I have with trying to trade Trey McBride, because I've tried to do it because I have a ton of it, because he was going in like a second round of rookie draft and I was scooping him up left and right.
Yeah.
People don't really value the tight end position, and I feel like there are some of the elite tight ends like you can't get their market value for whatever reason. There are very few people willing to pay up for tight ends, even though you probably should.
It's the same with Laporta, man.
So you'll see right here. I'll run through not all of these trades, but real quick, I'll run through 2 of them that I thought were okay. Kyle Pitts and Malik Neighbors for Trey McBride, DJ Moore, and a 25 third. Like, to me, I think on that one I'm keeping Trey McBride. Right? I think there's a lot of upside.
I'm taking Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. This one it was tough. I mean,
that's a good trade.
Yeah, I think this is a really good trade, like, universally. Like, if you're, I don't know, now that I talk about it more, I think I might be on the Pitts and Neighbor side. And then the other one, I thought this one was interesting. Devon Achane, T. Higgins, and a 25 second for Trey McBride and Isaiah Pacheco.
Ooh, I'm gonna keep McBride because I love Achane, but there's a lot of question marks there. We know McBride's good. We know Higgins is good. We know Pacheco's good. The second and
check. No, we don't.
Could be.
I just always wanted to say Pacheco out loud, to be honest with you.
Fair.
My wife doesn't understand it, so.
You scared me.
Yeah, so, I had one other one real quick. David Njoku and 225 first for Trey McBride and a 25 second.
That I think I would do. I think.
Yeah, right. So you're getting 2 firsts, and then I think Njoku, like we saw the stats with Deshaun Watson were really, really bad for Njoku, but I think it'll be okay this year. And so, you're going to get a loss of production a little bit going from McBride to Njoku, but 225 first, that's pretty good.
Wes is asking me to do a lot of comprehension, but I think I got there.
That's why I started laughing. I'm sorry. I just got Wes's comment. If you watch on YouTube, that was a good one. I'm not going to say it out loud, but that was quite funny. Real quick,
yeah, so let's go to yours.
My tight end is Brock Bowers, and this is purely based on he's the tight end 4 right now in Dynasty Daddy, which I think is too high. I think he's an awesome talent. I think some of the rumors about Devontae Adams being traded is kind of bumping him up slightly. But the concern here is more just like the offense in general. Like I think Bowers is great. I also think Michael Mayer's a good player. But like, what's the ceiling in this offense? This is coming from a Raiders fan, unfortunately. But like Luke Getsy's passing offense in 2 seasons in Chicago, and he was 32nd in pass attempts, 27th in pass attempts, 32nd in passing yards, 27th in passing yards. Like that's the bottom of the barrel. And then honestly too, so going back to 2018, he was offensive coordinator for Mississippi State. He had the 69th ranked offense and 112th out of 130 teams in passing yards. The only time Luke Getsy has had like success with like passing the football in his career is when he came when he was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. So and now he has Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, who were not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So
wasn't
there's some concern here.
Cole Kmet, wasn't he solid last year?
He was a top 10 tight end, but I don't know, man. Like the
thing about being a top 10 tight end is just like you don't even have to do much to do it. Is
right, a few touchdowns gets you there.
The back end,
but Bowers
the back 20 tight ends, you can put in a hat and just shake them up and be like, "There, you're a top 10 tight end, man."
So and I think this is a really good tier down, which I know Brock Bowers like skyrocket, right? He's probably I got to pull it up in Dynasty Daddy, but I think he's like definitely coming into the NFL as tight end.
He's 4.
Tight end 4. Yeah, tight end 4. So if he doesn't do like, and I think he's probably going to stay around there even if he doesn't do the greatest, because I think people know, okay, we have Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, right? So, and there's some hype that maybe Dak Prescott will go to the Raiders next year, which to me, I think is like a bit of malarkey. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. But I think if Kyle Pitts does well, Brock Bowers, he's going to jump Brock Bowers. I think if Mark Andrews has another good season, he's going to jump Brock Bowers. So therefore, he's going to drop to tight end 6. And like we just said, it's not too difficult to be in the top like 6 through 10. After, getting a couple touchdowns and whatnot, right? So if you can cash out on Brock Bowers right now, I think I would do it as well.
That was my whole thing.
He's relatively. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think Bowers is fine, but I just think unless he has like a top 5 season, he's gonna drop in value. And so, and I don't know if he's ever gonna come back up to that unless the Raiders get themselves a quarterback, which in my experience they don't.
On the value. Because Kyle Pitts at least held some value. I know he had like the awesome rookie season, but there's a lot of ups and downs throughout that entire thing. And his value held steady almost, through like year 3. And then we were finally like, dude, like I'm out of here on Pitts. Like, I think that people at least allow a little bit of time. Now, I don't know if, the season that Sam Laporta put together and that Trey McBride have put together, as young tight ends, if those are going to kind of change the landscape and change how, maybe had they come in before Kyle Pitts and done those things, we probably would have just, kind of tossed Kyle Pitts away off to the wayside possibly because of these young tight ends coming in and doing that. But I think that Bowers can be relatively stable for at least a year and a half after even a bad season, because I think it's baked in with that Raiders, all those Raiders concerns that you brought up, McSpanky. I think everybody can see it and knows it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where people are already drafting him, right? So I don't know, but let's go through those trades, your trades real quick, because I think some of these are pretty solid.
Yeah, so these all happened within the last, actually earlier today.
All today, yeah.
So Brock Bowers for Dalton Kincaid, straight up, which I think that one's crazy. Give me Kincaid all day.
Yeah, agreed.
Brock Bowers for DK Metcalf, straight up. That one is important to note. There's no tight end premium. So
if there's no tight end premium, I'll take Metcalf.
You need a plus for Metcalf, which I think is realistic.
Yeah, that one's I'm a little higher on Metcalf than most people, but no premium. That one I'll take Metcalf easily. But if there is a premium, I need a little bit more because, as we talked about it, tight ends are tough. That would be kind of my.
This is the one I really liked. Brock Bowers for Kyle Pitts plus Zach Moss.
Taking away your Zach Moss love, I still like it a lot. Yeah, so I mean, you're getting a plus. You're getting a plus with Kyle Pitts. I personally, I don't know if Zach Moss is going to be good or not, right? So I just think getting a plus with Kyle Pitts is pretty good.
That was my thinking. That's free Zach Moss for me, which I already liked him anyways. And then Brock Bowers for a 25 first and a 25 second. Obviously, we don't know where those first and seconds are, but if those are even on the midder side of late, if that's a word, give me that, because I think
I'm with you.
Yeah, and especially that mid second, you can always find a tight end. That's where a lot of tight ends generally will go. That's kind of where Trey McBride was. That's where Ben Sinnott was going this last year.
Obviously, it takes time before we know who the tight ends are going to be, but I think I'd still go on the picks here. I don't know. That one's a little tougher for me, just because I think overall, I think Brock Bowers is going to be a really good tight end. And I don't know I don't know many tight ends outside of Colston Loveland next year.
I was going to say your boy Loveland. That's got to be the guy.
Yeah, he should be good.
Nice.
Yeah, he's good too, but we'll see.
Who is it?
Mitchell Evans. He's another Notre Dame tight end.
Okay. All right. Just another one down the pipeline at Notre Dame, huh?
There's been a lot of them.
I know. That's why I say it.
Okay.
That. Just another one down the pipeline, huh? Almost like tight end U. Almost. Let's go to the guy that actually came from tight end U, Sam Laporta. My Lions fandom sometimes. Yeah, my Lions fandom sometimes won't allow me to do this. So Sam Laporta for Josh Jacobs and George Kittle. I'm gonna say no to you on that one.
Same.
George Kittle is too boom busty and I like Josh Jacobs, but not enough. Yeah, exactly. This one though, Sam Laporta and a 2025 round 3 for Dalton Kincaid and Ladd McConkey. I will actually take the Dalton Kincaid side on that one.
Yeah. You're not dropping too far.
No, right? Not at all. No. What do you guys think about this one? Sam Laporta for T. Higgins, a 2026 round 1 and round 2 pick, half tight end premium.
If those picks were 2025 and not 26, I would do it. With them being 2 years out, I'm probably keeping Laporta.
Yeah, I'm keeping Laporta too.
And one more here, Sam Laporta and a 26 third-round pick for Breece Hall and a 2025 second-round pick, 2026 second-round pick, and this is a full point tight end premium. Man.
See, I feel like the value's on the Breece Hall side, but I don't know if I want that side.
Right, it's so hard to give up a tight end because Breece is super good, but Raheem Mostert outproduced Breece last year, and he traded for thirds and late seconds. At the highest points of time.
Breece was coming off the ACL, but I know what you're saying.
Sure. Yeah, no. I just think you can find running back production easier than you can find tight end production on a more consistent basis.
Totally.
Maybe more what I'm getting at.
And next year's running back class looks really nice. So there's something to be said for that as well.
So overall, what I was going to say at the end of this is looking into this with the tight ends is I personally don't think I would really move my tight ends, my top end tight ends. If I have Trey McBride, if I have Sam Laporta, I don't really think I'm trading them. Just especially most all leagues I play in are tight end premium, so I don't really think I'm moving them.
Yeah,
Fair.
I agree. Unless I have multiple, there's a lot of places where I have both Kincaid and Laporta, and
I would move one of them. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I like holding them just in case.
Never know. You can play both of them
tight end
pretty
strategy.
confidently.
I'm a cautious guy, and you can flex them. Yeah, so
Exactly.
What the hell? You guys got any other parting thoughts for anybody?
That's all I got. Fresh.
Can't wait for Canton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so close now. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Can almost taste it.
Flag football, baby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be terrible.
Top 6 guaranteed. Let's go.
Don't worry. Oh hell yeah, we're getting that top 6. Don't worry about it. Easy peasy. All right. See you.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.